Hey YouTube, how's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's keeping safe, healthy, and happy despite everything that's going on in our lives today. I recently lost two friends close to my heart. I lost them to COVID-19, so I thought it would be fitting to dedicate this video in their memory. And like I told my other friends, I make this reminder to everybody, including you, of course, so that you can learn from this, avoid getting COVID at the onset, and hopefully I don't have to lose anyone else. We've lost a lot of good people this year, and this has to stop. And the only way to stop this is by knowledge and doing what's right. It's our civic responsibility to protect others from the virus. So, I'll be discussing new findings that they have regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and the virus itself, because there are some misconceptions that even the medical experts are unaware of. And with breakthroughs in technology, they were able to find out new things about these and hopefully find a way to fight it. So, what do we know so far? Well, the onset of coronavirus, also known as SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19, the symptoms include fever, dry cough, and tiredness. Very similar to flu, but there are major differences. Also, loss of taste and smell, and then rashes on the skin. You also have difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. There will also be chest pain or chest pressures that you will feel. And then in some cases you have loss of speech and movement. Now, why do I have to go through all these? Because I will be discussing them further, and these symptoms are actually caused by the characteristic of COVID. These aren't random, and there is a scientific and physical aspect to these symptoms, and I'll discuss that a little bit further down the video. Anyway, first let's discuss what we know. There are several medications that they use. Recently we've heard that President Trump was hospitalized and was given actually most of what I'm about to discuss. But as you can see, these are all quote-unquote remedies. These aren't cures for COVID-19. They are meant to minimize the symptoms and boost your immune system so that you can fight the virus yourself. So first of all is remdesivir, which is an antiviral. As we all know, corona is a virus, coronavirus, right? So it makes sense that we give the patients broad-spectrum antiviral drugs like remdesivir. However, it must be noted that you don't take this orally. It's injected into the bloodstream, and several doses will be needed for it to work. Another popular medication that they use is dexamethasone, which is actually a corticosteroid, which is an anti-inflammatory, which means that the swelling, rashes, and what I discussed up above, coughing and sneezing. These are caused by inflammation of some parts of your body. So by minimizing and by taking anti-inflammatory, you minimize those symptoms. They are not cured. The virus is still alive and still in your body, but your symptoms and you yourself will not feel very bad. Another one is hydroxychloroquine, which President Trump has been advocating. Unfortunately, he has no idea why it works. He just says it works, which could work. And like you said, and this is taken exactly from the website itself. It says it can treat certain autoimmune disease, and as you will find out towards a little bit later, some of the symptoms that I discussed earlier are caused by an autoimmune system malfunctioning. So by using hydroxychloroquine, you minimize those symptoms, so you don't the onset of autoimmune diseases that ravage your body will be minimized. And then there's this Chinese herbal medicine, which I cannot find the ingredients for, but I would think it's some sort of combination of all three of these medicines mentioned above. Please, again, every video I'll have to make a disclaimer. All right, please. I want to teach you guys about the new findings and review what we know. I'm not advocating that you should self-medicate, okay? Please don't self-medicate. Please do not self-medicate. If you feel any symptoms that I mentioned, contact your hospital, contact your physician, or contact your local government units. They'll know what to do. Please keep yourself safe, healthy, and happy. That's my goal. That's the goal of this channel. Anyway, with that out of the way, sorry about that. Let's go to the topic at hand. New findings. So, about a month ago, I was able to watch a documentary. It was featured in the NHK Japan International TV station, wherein there was, well, this is different from that one, but I will get to the Japanese version of this one a little later. But anyway, in the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, they use a supercomputer to analyze samples of COVID-19 and then map out the progression. So with that in mind, they were able to find out new details about the coronavirus. And then, like I said, in Japan, featured in the NHK World TV station, they used another system with an advanced AI program, and they mapped out the structure of the COVID-19 COVID-19 virus to analyze its characteristics. And what they found, I will combine these two together and discuss them at the same time because they're very, very interesting. Anyway, The Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee found that the body, when infected with COVID-19, produces bradykinin. Bradykinin is a naturally occurring chemical in the body, such as endorphins, such as oxytocin, such as, it's naturally occurring. It's in the blood. It's in the body. It's used to correct something that's wrong with the body. In this case, bradykinin lowers blood pressure because, as we all know, COVID-19 attaches itself to ACE2 receptors, and most people overlook the fact that ACE2 receptors are mostly found in the blood. So once it attaches to the blood, there's a cute discussion I'd like to do a little later. So overview. It makes, imagine your blood becomes very gritty or grainy, or with a lot of sand, so the pressure becomes very high. So the body compensates by producing bradykinin to lower the blood pressure, but in effect you're not having a high blood pressure. So lowering the blood pressure throws everything out of balance. And that's one of the things that COVID-19 does to our bodies. Next concept we will be discussing is called the cytokine storm. Now, cytokine is a protein that tells the body, it gives a signal that there's something wrong with the body, that the body needs help. So it calls in reinforcements to fight the infection. Now, there is something called a cytokine storm, which means that the body overproduces cytokine, and this causes the autoimmune disease that I discussed earlier, that hydroxychloroquine was supposed to alleviate. And there it is, the cytokine storm. Okay, so let's recap. How does COVID-19 affect us? Like I mentioned, COVID-19 attaches itself to the ACE receptors, which mostly is found in the blood. So if you go back to your grade school science lessons in anatomy, where does the blood flow first? Of course, it goes into the heart, right? It's pumped out of the heart and goes into the lungs to get oxygenate blood, and then oxygenated blood flows throughout the body. So that's the progression of the blood flow. However, therein lies the problem, because when you hear COVID-19, the crowns or the thorns that are sticking out, scientists and experts like to say it's a key, and the ACE receptors is the lock, and the lock and key opens up your body, or the mechanics of your body. But that's a little too highbrow for me. That's a little too complicated. I'd like to think of COVID-19 as a bad tourist. So we've all been tourists before, right? We've all had long travels, traveling in the bus, and then we have to make a pit stop. And what's the first thing that you do when you hit the pit stop, right? Think about that for a while. I'll move through the progression. Okay, so the first step, once Where's my... Okay, sorry. So, like a bad tourist, I imagine COVID-19, the spines, the thorns, the crowns that makes it corona sticking out, is actually like a bus ticket. And since coronavirus is able to hitch a ride in the bus, which is our bloodstream, the first stop is the lungs. And when it gets to the lungs, like I said, what do? You go to the washroom, right? Well, imagine COVID-19. This guy's a bad tourist. And when I say bad, I mean really bad. I mean, when he goes to the lungs, he uses the washroom. But instead of, pooping, it makes copies of itself. And one coronavirus can make 1,000 copies. And those 1,000 copies makes another 1,000 each, and then another 1,000 each, and another 1,000 each. So what happens? And then the tour guide says, okay, everyone, it's time to go. So they leave, right? And then imagine the management steps into the washroom and sees that the whole washroom is dirty. So it's overwhelmed. So what does the management do? It calls the entire cleaning crew to wash just that washroom. And the entire cleaning crew, they only have one way to wash it. It's with soap and water. So with pouring and overflowing soap and water to clean out the washroom and to clean out the lungs, that's where difficulty breathing begins. And that is how you develop pneumonia-like symptoms, because one of the key points of pneumonia is having fluids in the lungs. So you can think about it that way. I like to explain things to people in layman's terms, in terms and words and concepts that everyone understands, right? I could discuss with you and I could go in depth about cytokine storms and everything, but a tourist management and washroom is so much more relatable, right? So the cytokine storm is basically management going in panic mode and calling the entire cleaning crew instead of just one janitor or two. No, this needs everybody. So it's overcrowded, and then they all pour soap and water. That's the only way to clean it. And that's all your body knows how to do, is to create more fluids to wash it out. And that's the point. That's cytokine storm. And that's why there's difficulty breathing. And that's why you develop shortness of breath and tiredness. You'll know that you've been infected with COVID-19 if, according to survivors, you can barely speak 2 words without taking a breath. So it's that bad. Now, the next stop is the heart. Okay, so like I said earlier, from the lungs, oxygenated blood goes into the heart, and then it's pumped all over the body. So because like I mentioned earlier, your blood is filled with unwanted tourists, so it becomes grainy and it becomes thick and viscous. So your body produces bradykinin to lower the blood pressure, but you're not high blood. There's no high blood pressure, so there's nothing to lower. So it throws your system out of whack. It disrupts the regular activity of the heart. And that's why COVID-19 survivors, when they get examined again, they actually show signs, their heart shows signs of damage as if they survived a heart attack. That's how deadly this virus is. So, like I said in the beginning of my video, it's better not to get it in the first place. The third stop is the brain, because your brain needs 20% of total oxygen of your entire body. I got trivias too, so you learn stuff. So with 20% of the oxygen in such a small space, it needs a lot of oxygen. So from the heart, the blood is first pumped to the brain, because that's the most important part. And when you have a loss of sense of taste and smell, it's a sign that the COVID-19 virus is already inside your brain and is disrupting the smell and taste receptors of the brain. That's why you have loss of sense of taste and smell. Last stop, of course, after the brain, like I said, throughout the whole body. So when your joints in your fingers and your toes start to swell, that's called deep vein thrombosis. That means COVID-19 is already throughout your body. It's in your entire body, and that's critical, and that's severe, and that is something to be really, 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 really worried about. That's scary. I don't know what to say. I'm just so scared imagining this last part. Right? So this is the visualization of what I just discussed with you. So like I said, they say it's a key. Experts say it's a key. I imagine it as a bus ticket. And the cytokine storm happens in the heart, in the lungs, sorry. Bradykinin overproduction happens in the heart. And then loss of taste and smell happens in the brain. And swelling. This is just my way of giving you a visualization, something that sticks in your mind. This slide basically is something that sticks in your mind, so that when you close your eyes, when you talk about COVID-19, when someone mentions COVID-19, you start imagining this particular scene. Right? So, again, just because you recover from COVID-19 doesn't mean that you're out of the woods. Science and experts do agree that there are lasting conditions. There are diseases and there are symptoms that stay with you even after you've recovered from COVID-19. Right? And like I said earlier, because it affects your heart and your lungs, when they scanned the lungs and the hearts of COVID-19 survivors, they saw that it's as if the patients developed pneumonia and then was cured of pneumonia, but the damage was already done. In a similar way, it's like the COVID-19 survivors were also heart attack survivors with the damage done to their hearts. And for those who are waiting for the vaccine, here's the problem. We don't know how long the vaccine will last, not when it will come out, or how long it will last. Here in the Philippines, there are several cases of government officials being reinfected, having COVID-19, recovering from it, and then after a while, because they're exposed to the virus on a daily basis, they reacquire it. So the studies are not clear yet on how long it will last. The antibodies and the vaccine, they don't know how long it lasts. Their best guess is about 4 months to 1 year. Hopefully it's closer to 1 year, but from all indications, 4 months I think is how long you're safe, and then you'll have to beware once again. So I know you've heard this 100, maybe 1,000 times already, but it is worth mentioning, and there are still stubborn and hard-headed people who do not heed these warnings. So, how not to get infected? Number 1, social and physical distancing. Okay? Remember, the primary source of infection for COVID-19 is by, number 1, someone coughs and the droplets enter you through the nose, mouth, eyes, or someone sneezes, even somebody breathing on you, because you're dealing with droplets. So if someone breathes on you and the virus, and there is a droplet, saliva, that flies out of his mouth or out of his nose. Nose is mucus, but droplet flying out of him, if it hits you, goes into your eyes, goes to your nose, or goes into your mouth, you get infected. So keeping 6 feet, 2 meters, at least 2 meters away from, everyone else, that is the most effective way. But then again, new studies are being published now that the virus could be airborne, but they're still not sure about that. So just to be safe, stay away. And just to be doubly safe, here it is. This has caused so much problems all over the world, but it's been proven to work. So please wear your face masks. And if at all possible, wear face shields that covers your eyes, nose, and mouth, because those are the primary entrance that the COVID-19 virus uses. In the Philippines, face masks and face shields are mandatory. And I hope all over the world they adopt the same policy too. The next one is avoid touching unsanitized surfaces. Again, I like to explain things to people in layman's terms, making a correlation to different everyday scenarios. Avoid touching unsanitized surfaces. You don't know if there is a surface that's, you're not familiar with. Picking up a coin, tabletops that are not yours. You don't know what viruses are there. So don't touch anything. unless you've sanitized it yourself, then it's probably, I'm not even saying it's surely safe, it's probably safe if you sanitize that yourself. But, you know, just the same, avoid touching unsanitized surfaces. Next one, most important one. Most important, stay healthy with a good diet and an exercise program. My first video dealt with a diet program. Okay, so we have a good diet. Down the road, I will be making an exercise video. Not after my face reveal, we can work out together, but I will be discussing nuances on the different exercises that you can do at home, because we're all trapped in our houses and this is fun to work out. Next, and remember this is something that came out of the research from Oak Ridge. Keep your immune system and your body healthy with vitamins A, C, E, and zinc. The most important thing now is please get some sunlight. Vitamin D is important because it's been proven, and research shows that people with sufficient vitamin D don't develop symptoms of COVID as severely as those that are deficient of vitamin D. And vitamin D is free from sunlight. If you can't get sunlight for one reason or another, you can take vitamin D supplements, which works as well. But sunlight is free. 1 to 2 minutes per day, good enough. So, thank you for watching. Here's my final thoughts, all right? Every video, I will be reminding you to keep yourself safe, healthy, and happy. Keep a positive attitude, and that's why my channel is called Be Positive. You always have to be positive. But I like to joke with my friends, and I say, okay, be positive in your attitude, but negative in your COVID-19 test results. So it's just a little fun I like to have. Anyway, I like to fight fear with knowledge. So I teach you, I give you the guides, I give you the analysis, I give you the new findings, new stuff, so that the more we know about this, the less we fear it. But just because we don't fear it doesn't mean that we have to be lax, that we have to ignore it, that we have to take it for granted. No. We still have to go through our steps. We still have to keep ourselves safe. We still have to wear the masks. We still have to keep our distance from everyone else. But we know now how they fight. And then we know how they fight, we can fight back. Right? Social responsibility is my next point. Okay? Consider yourself infected. We wear the mask not because we want to protect ourselves. The logic is, and the thinking is, you wear the mask because you may have the virus and you're asymptomatic and you don't want to infect other people, because walking down the streets and then you have somebody walking towards you, if you have COVID-19, if you're infected and you don't know about it because you're asymptomatic, you could breathe on them. If you don't have a mask, you can breathe on them, you can cough, or you can, sneeze by accident, and you could get them infected. So consider yourself already infected, and by wearing the masks and face shields and social distancing, you will prevent spreading it to other people, right? And for those who are trapped at home, for those who can't come out, and for those who are resisting coming out, there are people, I know people, who can come out, who can go to church, who can, enjoy leisures, and they choose not to. And for that, I give you all the respect I have, because it takes so much willpower, self-control, and discipline to be able to resist that and to give others the chance to go out. Because, like I said, social distancing, the less people go out, the better. So if you don't need to go out, just stay at home. You can pass the time with prayers, right? Praying, meditating, and finding your faith is a very good way to spend the time at home. And like I said to my friends, I didn't waste my quarantine. I didn't waste the lockdown. I improved my health. I improved spiritually. One of my friends, and I'm so proud of her, she learned to pray the rosary during the quarantine. Before the quarantine, she was asking me to teach her to pray the rosary, and I gave her a guide, and I taught her how to pray. She was texting me how to pray and everything, and she learned. But during the quarantine, she was trapped, couldn't go out. She actually mastered it, and I'm so proud of her. So prayers, and then patience, right? Patience at home, a lot of patience. Discipline and courtesy to others will reflect in social distancing and wearing the mask and all those protocols that we have to abide by, and consideration for others. With prayers, patience, discipline, courtesy to others, and consideration for others, with all those in mind, this thing will be beaten in no time. Like the countries that are already recovering, they did it because of all these. And those that are struggling, it's because they don't have any of these. Right? So pray, again, I will repeat because this was worth repeating. Prayers, patience, discipline, courtesy, and consideration for others. Keep those in mind, and we'll beat this in no time. So, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please click the like button. If you think this video can help someone, please don't hesitate to share it. Like I said, I have so much more I want to talk about. I just need time to prepare the videos. So subscribe to my channel, please, and then click the notification bell so that when I post my videos, you will know and you can watch it, and we can have a good time, and you can learn from it, and I can entertain you. If you have any other questions, queries, or clarifications you want, or suggestions on topics you want me to discuss, please leave them in the comments. If there's anything else you think that I missed on this video, new findings, or something you've encountered, or something you've experienced, or you have a friend that you've witnessed, please let me know. The more information out there, let me rephrase that. The more accurate and correct and verified information out there, the better it is for everybody, because there are a lot of people spreading fake news. So we will not do that. Again, the fun little game, my sub goal game, at 10,000 subs, we will be doing a face reveal, and after the face reveal, I would love to work out with you guys. I'll stay here in my house. You'll be in your homes, in your rooms. We'll work out together. I've already worked out the exercise program. It's really good, really effective. So, again, this is my outro. Please, everyone, keep safe. Wash your hands. Oh yeah, one more thing. Wash your hands, very important, because the only way to kill coronavirus, or any virus for that matter, is with detergents or alcohol-based sanitizers. And again, imagining, all right? You imagine the virus. Alcohol-based sanitizers and detergents actually dissolve the membrane. So the corona sticks out, right? The crown sticks out. But the circle itself, the sphere itself, is a membrane. And soap, detergents, and alcohol dissolve the membrane. And once the membrane is dissolved, the virus just dies. So it's very important to wash your hands and sanitize with alcohol-based sanitizers. Okay? So let's do that again. Please keep safe, wash your hands, social distance, and then wear masks and face shields. Thank you for watching. Please stay awesome, level up, and be positive. And see you guys in the next video. You'll always be in my prayers. I love you all.